What's up, you guys? Slim here with a new video today. I'm here to give you guys my deck profile for the deck that I played at YCS Minneapolis this past weekend. Ended up going X3, unfortunately losing the last round in Game 3. I was 1 point away from making day 2. Very confident in my deck. I felt that I could have definitely made day 2, and I honestly believe had I made day 2, I felt the deck was strong enough to carry me to a top. Unfortunately, it just did not happen. I'll explain what happened in the final game. It was really sad because it was the deck failed to do what it was supposed to do, and it was doing it all day, so I'll get into it. But as you guys can see, I did play the Minerva deck. A shout out to my boy Asian Persuasion, Johnny. He inspired me to play the deck with all his recent tops and everything. I've been talking to him about the deck for a while. I got a Minerva, and I realized, you know, this deck is amazing. I played the 50 card build he did, and the deck was just insane the entire tournament. I'll get into the deck profile first and then explain my matches and like going forward, the future, like what we'll do with this deck. But I definitely admit Minerva was absolutely insane, and I can see why. If you have access to one, you definitely should try out the deck because it really is unreal. Our build was really spicy though, so I think you guys really like it, so I'll get into it for you guys. So for the monsters, we played a lot of monsters. So we started with 3 JD. We did play JD. Now here's the thing with JD. I summoned it, I want to say in 8 rounds, I summoned it maybe a total of 5 or 6 times, and it was never for its effect. I never used Judgment Dragon's effect because my board was always massive with this deck. You create a massive board with this deck going first or second, and Judgment Dragon was just there. 3000 beat stick, it gets over a lot of problematic monsters. I would summon it against my opponent, and I would just OTK them that turn, not even blowing up with this card. So this card was basically here as just a big beat stick. Would I play it going forward? Hard to say. I don't think this will be the route we go with the deck, but it was definitely there, and it was effective for for the games that I did summon it. I had one game where I desired all 3 away, and it didn't even matter because it's not the main focus of the deck, but we play it because, I mean, the card's really sacking, and it's Johnny's favorite card, so yeah. So 3 of those. Onto the Lights Horns. 3 Raiden. Best normal summon. Card can just get you there. It's insane. I really like this card. Raiden is very solid. You know, your level 4 tuner, ability to mill 4 cards is just insane. Go with 3 Wolves, of course, and 2 Felice. You draw them, they suck. You mill them, they're amazing off Minerva especially. Just help you make your Cyframe Lord Omegas, help you make your rank 4s, and, you know, proceed to just beat your opponent. So those are like for the 4, like the main 4s. 2 Lumina. I really like Lumina. You can make Michael with it. Super important. Michael was one of the MVPs all day. 2 Lila, back row removal. I single-handedly got over Jaugen with this card. I would summon it, attack over Jaugen, put it to defense, you know, take out 2 cards in one. It was awesome. 1 Little Minerva. We play this because we play Brilliant Fusion. If you open Brilliant Fusion in this, you make Cyframe Lord Omega with the 5 and the 3. It was good. I would mill it sometimes, and I had one game where I milled it, and I milled a wolf off it. It was pretty broken, so yeah. 1 Aaron. Never used it for its effect, but it was there as a name. Could search it with Rhoda if I needed to. Mostly was there for a name. It got banished off Desires all the time, so I barely saw it. 1 Garoth. There was one game where I did Minerva and Garoth, drew a lot of cards. Better than that, card was just a name. Same with Jane. Same thing. Never really used it. Was just a name. It was there to, you know, feed Judgment Dragon and just, you know, give cards for snow, which was important too. So yeah, so that was for all the Lights Horns, Judgment Dragons, etc. On to the real spiciness of the deck. The 3 Galaxy Soldiers. This single-handedly was probably the best card in the deck. I opened it so many games, and I just would start the board with Infinity. I'd go Brilliant Fusion, you know, bring up Seraph Knight, bring up Trick Clown, then go Galaxy Soldier, discarding a snow, search the other Galaxy Soldier. You could even tribute the Seraph Knight for the 2nd Galaxy Soldier, which is just crazy because you could just make a board of Infinity, Minerva, Omegas, etc. It was just utterly insane. I'm never cutting this card from the deck. When we go forward with the deck, we're still playing it. Definitely one of the MVPs of the deck all day. I highly suggest if you're playing Blue Eyes or any deck that can play Galaxy Soldier, play it because a card is worth its weight in gold. 3 copies of Goblinberg. Self-explanatory. Instant Omega if you have a tuner. Instant Minerva if you have another rank 4. Just really solid card in general. Searchable by Rhoda. Best card in the deck, of course, Fairy Tale Snow. I said Galaxy Soldier was the best card, but Snow is what the deck is all about. Setting up a Snow against your opponent is just so important. The way I lost, unfortunately, in the last round, round 8, I milled like 25 plus cards, desired 10 cards away, didn't see a single Snow. Left my opponent at 1300. I had gotten Max Seed. There was nothing I could do. You have to push through Max Seed with this deck, so unfortunately that's what ended up happening, and then he broke my board, but, you know, you try. If Snow would have hit the grave, I would have won. 2 copies of Trick Clown, solid card, goes with the Brilliant Fusion, then 2 Garnets. I didn't draw a Garnet as much as I thought I would. With 50 cards, you really don't. You draw it, it's okay as long as you have a second one in the deck. You banish them away with Desires, it happens. But yeah, that's the monsters. It's like 32 monsters to the spells. 3 Brilliant Fusion. Every time I open this card, I pretty much won. Brilliant Fusion, you know, Brilliant Fusion Galaxy Soldiers was happened a lot, and it was just insane because you just would end with massive boards. So really solid card. 3 Desires. Card is broken. Card says draw 2 cards. Play it. I'm not going to say anything else. Card was never bad for me all day. 3 copies of Solar Recharge, 2 Charge, Lightsworn cards, 2 copies of Instant Fusion, cards always good. Norden, make your 4s. 2 Reincarnations. I use this quite a bit. I actually used it to get back JD, and my opponent realized it, and they just scooped because they were like, well, you're going to blow up my board. So, solid card. I don't know if we're going to play it going forward, but for this event, it was really good. Then the 1-ofs, 1 Soul Charge, 1 Rhoda, 1 Foolish. All standard stuff. So that's the main deck, you guys. It is 50 cards. Bricked 1 game out of like the 20 plus I played. It was good. It rarely bricked. There was only that 1 game where it happened, but other than that, for 50 cards, the deck flowed amazingly. So yeah, it was a fantastic deck. So now I'll get into side deck actually. Show you guys what I played in the side. So for BAs, I played 3 Flying and 2 Max. I played 1 Burning Abyss. I sided these in. Fortunately, game 2, I sided it in, and he just tributed for Fiend, so that kind of sucked. But Max C got me there. I played a DDD player. I maxed him for like 10 plus cards and just won the game right there because of that. Max C was amazing. Might main it going forward. 2 Denko Sekka, shout out to Johnny for letting me borrow these. These were to take down Magispectors. You summon this card, really good. Summoning against Demise decks, really, really solid. Very good card. I'd definitely play it going forward with the rise in Magispectors and Ties of the Brother and etc. 2 copies of Gamma Seal. It was pretty cool. I Gamma Sealed. I'm trying to remember who I sided it against, but I Gamma Sealed and then Castelled it back to the deck. It was pretty crazy just to win the game, so it was cool. I even tributed at one point 2 monsters for this so that I could actually further extend my field. I know it sounds crazy, but I had too many cards on the field with Seraph Knight, so I tributed that away with another card, and then I brought this out, and I mean, it was just insane. So, card was fantastic. I might even think of bumping it to 3. I didn't play the Sticky String Kaiju because my theory is, if you cannot take down a 2200 monster when you're summoning it, then there's something wrong with your deck. But that's just me. 3 copies of Twin was good. Sided in against the Metal Foes and like any back row decks I played. Card was just good in general. Michael banished Sky Iris and Twin Twisted the Scales, and that was game. So it's pretty cool. A 1-Ride Geki. I drew it like maybe once or twice. Used it. It was okay. It wasn't as great as I thought it would be. I might not play it going forward, but it was an out to the Fiends because the Fiends like killed this deck. And then 2 copies of Anti-Spell. This card single-handedly won me my round 7 in game 3. Opened very weak. Like, I didn't brick, but I only opened Raiden. It was between summoning Raiden or summoning Lila, and obviously you summon Raiden. I milled 2 more in the end phase, said Anti-Spell. Didn't mill anything that great, no snow or anything. But then I flipped Anti-Spell, he couldn't play, and when I drew for my turn, I drew Solar Recharge, I just started digging into my deck, and my deck started to go off. So this card was awesome. It single-handedly won me the game. And my opponent cited no answer to this because he could not believe that Lightsworn was actually playing this card when we run so many spells, and I told him, well, Blue Eyes actually does the same thing too going first. So he learned that you actually do have to side for this card, even against a deck like this. So yeah, so that was a side. I would change some things in the future. I'd probably play Swords of Concealing Light or Book of Eclipse to out Fiends, just more Fiend outs on an extra deck. Obviously the best card in the extra deck. I only own 1 Minerva. 1 Minerva got me there. Johnny plays 2. He has 2. I could not get a second one. I tried. Actually, in like the 8 rounds, you guys, I never needed a second one. The people think, oh, you summon 2 Minervas, it's godly. It's not that great, because if you do summon 2, you only get to use 1 Minerva's effect, so it's really not as great summoning 2. Like, you have the second one if this gets banished off a Magispector Trap or something, but other than that, one was perfect. So this card was obvious, MVP for the Exceeds. 1 Seraph Knight for the Brilliant Fusion, 1 Norden for the Instant Fusion. 2 Omegas. I made 2 Omegas a lot. When you open Soul Charge, obviously you're making double Omega. 1 Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. I was almost able to win that game against BA. I went Instant Fusion, thinking if I go Norden, get Raiden back, make Scarlight, he's at 13, I can hit him for 15. He had 3 special summon monsters. Unfortunately, he had Emptiness, so this never happened, but in theory, it would have been good. 1 now named Temez. Shout out to my boy Michael Temez. He brought me like the most ridiculous luck when he walked over to watch my match. I was playing against Pendulums in game 2, and he had summoned the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon or whatever it was, and he went to go, when he summoned it, he went to go spin Michael, and I changed Snow. He negated Snow, and it put Michael back in the extra deck. Then, during the end phase, I summoned Snow back, and then during my turn, I made Michael again, banished it again, and then made Trapeze Magician and just OTK'd him. He was at 7,000, I hit him for 72, so this card was broken. Shout out to Temez. This is what it's called now, so that's Michael Temez on the deck. And then for the other rank 4s, the Utopias, I actually never made them, didn't come up. Judgment Dragon got me there because it was just big, but in theory, this would have been great if I could have brought it up. 1 Emerald, card's good. Castell was Castelling cards away all day. It's just how you win. You get rid of problems on the field and you just OTK them. 1 Dweller, made it of course against BA. 1 Trapeze Magician, this was my replacement for the second Minerva since I didn't have one. I didn't think it would come up, but it actually did come up in my round against Pendulums, where I just, like I said, I trapezed on Michael, that's 52. And this, it's game, so it was pretty good because he was at 7,000. And then the most summoned card next to Minerva was the Nova and the Infinity. Infinity is broken. Card is insane. It got kaiju'd. It did happen a lot, but it didn't matter because a lot of game 1s would just auto-win with Infinity, Minerva, Omega. It was just crazy. So yeah, so that is the whole deck, you guys. I'll just get into my rounds real quick. So let's see. Round 1. Let's see. I played Metal Foes, and I actually lost 2-0. It's not a favorable matchup for this deck. He had Maxi every single time. I could literally not believe it because the deck loses hard to Maxi if you can't net a Snow in the grave. And every time I would start with Brilliant Fusion, sure enough, he'd have Maxi. So I lost, and I lost to Jaug, and I couldn't out it. He had Emptiness, he had Warning, I couldn't out it, but that was whatever. I made up for it round 2 by 2-0ing Blue Eyes. The matchup isn't hard. Snowing their tuners, you just win the game. Round 3, I played my most infamous match always. I always lose to Mermails, and I did in game 3. I lost in time. I made a board. I went instant fusion for Norden, as they literally called time right after I brought up the guys. So I was already 1,000 points down, and I had already brought Trick Clown up before, so I was down 2,000 to my opponent, so I already knew I was in trouble. But I thought, okay, I'm going to make a board of Infinity and Dweller, and that should get me there to where I can, put enough damage on board next turn to win. Unfortunately, his 6th card he drew was a Kaiju. He Kaiju'd the Infinity, and he discarded Undyne for Teus. He had that spell that boosts him by 800, and with that he was able to run over the Dweller, and I was just left with a crappy Kaiju, and I couldn't do anything, so I lost that one. But then I went on to win the next, I think, 4 straight, and I played Metal Foe Yang Zing. Game 1 was the only game I bricked. He did Boxia, spun away. I set a Trick Clown. It was the only card that I could play. He spun it back. I was down to 38, drew for turn, had no play, so I scooped. Game 2, set up my board and won. Game 3, I broke his board with Twin Twister and Michael and just won the game right there. So that was it. I summoned Judgment Dragon and had 5 monsters and just attacked with everything for game. The next round I played DDD. I won that 2-0. Max C game 2 for 10. Plus, you just win. Deck's good, though. I can definitely see its potential in the upcoming format, especially when the structure deck comes out. Next round, I played Pendulums. I won that 2-0. Like I said, when Temez came over, I summoned Michael for a second time and just won, so it was broken. Trapeze got me there for the OTK. The next round, I played Metal Foes, and it was funny. During my last couple rounds, I was next to Corey Roca, and I ended up playing his friend with the Metal Foes, and it was in game 3 that I won the game with Anti-Spell Fragrance, so that card was amazing. And then for the last round, had I won, I would have made day 2. Unfortunately, I ended up losing. It was against BAPK. I opened the nuts game 1. Game 2, he Vanities Fiend me. I didn't draw my outs. Game 3, I made my board, into Max C, and I couldn't kill him in the turn. I just didn't have Snow. 25 plus cards milled, didn't hit Snow, didn't draw Snow off Desires, didn't banish it off Desires. All 3 were in the deck, and unfortunately, my board got broken, and I just could not come back. So that was my tournament report, you guys. I really enjoyed playing this deck. I'm definitely going to play it going forward. I personally love Lightshorn. I don't really care what people think. It's just always been a favorite deck of mine, but especially this build. Johnny really stumbled upon something great with this deck. A lot of people enjoyed it. My boy Ed enjoyed test drawing it. The deck just has so many plays it can do, and it can just do so many things that overwhelm the opponent. The boards you can make are insane, so I highly suggest if you have access to a Minerva, definitely try the deck out. If you don't, it's fine. The card is going to be reprinted eventually, but I really like it. This card single-handedly makes the deck amazing, though. I'm just letting you know, like, this card is insane. It literally will win you every game. And I mean, and I highly suggest you play these because these are worth their weight in gold. But I really enjoyed playing it. I really had a great event. I did a bunch of deck profiles with my brother Cordero and Johnny and everybody, and it was just great. I got to meet John Moore and everybody. It was fantastic. Shout out to everybody for making the YCS just a great experience for me. And yeah, I hope you guys will give Lightshorn a try, or you'll be prepared for it. It did top 8 the YCS, so it is a real deck. Shout out to Marcus for winning. Really cool guy. Met him, profiled him with Frazier and everyone, so it was great. And yeah, I just really enjoyed playing this deck, and I hope you guys enjoyed the profile. Be sure to smash that like button if you did. Any questions, let me know. There'll be future profiles of this, and it's a deck I'm just going to be sticking with for a while since I do have access to the Minerva. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.